But on the public server subnet, yes, there is internet access. Okay, so that we discussed. Okay, today we are going to see that if you are using a private subnet, right, then if the machine on the private subnet want to access the internet, how they can access. We are going to talk about a component which is known as a NAT gateway. We have two things. One, we have NAT gateway, and other we have internet gateway, right? So, internet gateway. So on internet gateway, this is going to open bi-directional traffic. Okay, it is going to open inbound and outbound both. Both it is going to open. But NAT gateway would be just opening outbound. So yesterday you have seen that I have created this kind of diagram. This is your AWS. Under AWS, we create a VPC. This is my VPC. And within the VPC, we create a subnets. These are the subnet. This is subnet A. And this is subnet B. And within the subnet, what we create? We create EC2 instances. Right? These are nothing but this is EC2 instance. These are the virtual machines. And you know, if subnet is a public type subnet, okay, which would be associated with internet gateway. This is internet gateway. Which is providing internet services outside of AWS. That means if user want to access anything over the internet, it would be able to do. So public subnet would be associated with the internet gateway. I mean, yes, internet gateway. That means they can access the instances which is over the internet, right? It would be able to access. But what if the private subnet, where you don't have a public IP, you have a private IP only, and they want to access internet? So they can access internet through the NAT gateway. So we will create a NAT gateway on public subnet over here. This NAT gateway would have the public IP, which is in AWS term, this is called elastic IP. And once we create a NAT gateway, we will create a routing table. And in route table, we are going to define that if this subnet go over the internet, okay, this subnet B, if subnet B want to go over internet, which is 0.0.0.0/0, how it should go? It should go via NAT gateway. That we are going to define on the routing table. So that's, I mean, if these subnet want to access internet, they would be going via NAT gateway. Okay. But there won't be any incoming services available from the internet. This is just for the outgoing. So if you want to access the machine, which is on subnet B, either you can access the machine from over here, or you can use the local console to access it. Okay, directly these machine cannot be accessed because these are in the private IP. So today we are going to see how to use NAT gateway and how to make internet available on the private subnet. Right? So let's talk about NAT gateway, and then we will talk about how we can make it available in the private subnet. But before using this, let's understand few things about the NAT gateway. For NAT gateway, if you are using in AWS this NAT gateway, so for the data which would be going through the NAT gateway, okay, you have to pay the data charges. Data charges are there. You have to pay for the data charges. However, for for free account, we can use it, okay, for some data, but not for the use data, because if we are processing use data for the internet access, okay, so definitely AWS is going to charge for that. And one thing about the NAT gateway, when you are creating a NAT gateway, you make sure it should be created on public subnet, not on the private subnet. It should be created on public subnet, not on the private subnet. Right?
Why public to public netting is required?
Public to public netting. Okay. Because I mean, public to public netting is not required, but this NAT gateway would only be created on the public subnet if you are creating over here, right? So by default, this won't work if you don't define any elastic IP. So I mean, this is really important that we should create on the public subnet, because as you know that public subnet is accessible over the internet, right? So if you are putting this NAT gateway here, so that could be one of the security reason, okay? Because this NAT gateway would have the public IP, right? So that would be exposing the risk of access through the public network. And that's why we should create the NAT gateway on the public network.
Not getting the point. So if we are if we have the private subnet and we need to go to the internet,
right?
So how we will go through the internet gateway only?
No, for private subnet you won't go via internet gateway. You would go via NAT gateway only. Okay, you can't go via internet gateway for the private subnet. So let's go here and let me show you. So let me access my AWS console. So okay, I would go here and create a VPC, networking services. Go to VPC. Right now I don't have any VPC. Yesterday I have deleted them because yeah, I mean, if we are using free tier account, so we should not keep running the things. Okay, that's why I have deleted them. So go to VPC and let's create a VPC. So I'm creating a VPC. For example, this is test VPC1 and CIDR range I'm taking 10.0.0.0/16. Okay, tenancy is a default. Okay, it's not dedicated. Let's go and create it. VPC has been created. Within the VPC, we have to create a subnet. So let's create a subnet. I would select a VPC and create a subnet. Subnet underscore, sorry, test VPC 1 subnet. That's a public subnet. Give the subnet CIDR range over here /24. This is public type, and by default I'm creating on the Ohio East 2A, that subliminality zone, and let's create it. I would create one more subnet, and this subnet I would create a private type. So I would select this and give test VPC 1 underscore subnet underscore private, and give the CIDR range 10.0.1.0/24. This one. Let's create, and now I would create two instances. Sorry, after that I need to create internet gateway and need to attach on the VPC. So let's go here and create internet gateway. IG underscore test VPC 1. Let's create it, and let's attach this internet gateway to the VPC. Okay, this has been attached. Further, I would create two EC2 instances. So let's go to services and select EC2 services over here. None of the instance is running, so we can create EC2 instance, launch instance. Web server underscore test VPC 1, and this is on public subnet. So I'm just creating this as a public type, and I would define that the key pair I'm using as yesterday, test key. And over here for network setting, I'm just going to edit it and selecting my VPC and the subnet. So I'm creating this machine on the public subnet, and that's why I would assign the public IP to this machine, right? And RDP I'm just going to allow, and I'm going to allow only RDP. I'm just going to allow for now on the security group. That's it. Let's launch the instance, and I need to create one more instance. Okay, view all instance, and let's launch one more instance. Give this web server underscore test VPC1, and this is on private subnet. Select the image, Windows T2 Micro, this one. Key pair, I'm using the same key pair. And over here on network setting, I would go on edit. And right now subnet I would select, instead of public, I would select private subnet. And auto public IP I would disable, because I don't want to allow this machine to access internet. And then I would launch the instance.
You created 4 instances?
2 instances only. Those were yesterday.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Terminated.
yeah, those are the terminated. So I would just go with the running one.
Okay, showing two. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Let's refresh it and see the states. So one of the public subnet machine has been up. So let's try to access it. Connect RDP client, download this, and I need a password to access this. So this is the key. I would get the password of this. This is for first time access. This password is for first time access. If you want to change later, you can change it. Okay, it's up to you. So
From
once
where
you
we need to change? From the console only.
from the console of the machine.
Okay, from the machine. But
Yeah, it's showing that unable to connect to that instance. By default, RDP is allowed, right? So this is the security group. And if I edit this, this is showing that RDP is allowed from anywhere. EC2 instance. Can you try if you can access this instance?
sure, let me try. I need to take RDP.
Yeah.
Okay. 3.143.204.228. Let me check again. 3.143.204.228. Not opening.
It's not opening.
No.
Okay, let's check the security group of this. RDP 3389. and this should be accessible from any IP.
Should I try again?
Just a moment. I haven't saved so far. I have IP version 6. That may be one of the reason.
Can you show me this machine again, please?
Sure.
This is the public one, right?
This is the public one, right? The public IP.
And we have the internet gateway side.
Yes.
From where we need to see internet gateway if we need to check.
Internet gateway is already assigned over here. This is the VPC. And you can see that this is the internet gateway that is already attached with the VPC. Okay, one reason could be on the subnet, we don't have a public, routes for the network. Let's check the routing table. Okay, let's edit this.
Local route only. Yeah.
It is local route only, so we have to add one more route over here.
The global one.
Oh, yeah. So
Default.
let's go
Default.
to routing table, and let's add one more. Sorry. This is the routing table. And add one more. Subnet. Okay, this is the subnet, which is public one. And with this public one, we have route table. This is the route table. And if I open the route table, I should be able to see routes over here. Let's edit it and add route. Add for the internet gateway. And this is the internet gateway. Save it. And then try.
Now it is working.
It is working. Okay. Fine. So let's use administrator. And then password. Try to open it. Yes. Okay, so this is opening. But for other one, we don't have any internet routes, so I won't be able to access other one from outside, because you have seen that The routing table, the subnet which we have, this is the private subnet, right? And on the private subnet, we have this routing table. Okay. I mean, here we are using same route table. That's why it is showing in this way. Okay. But ideally, we should use a different route table for the private subnet. Okay. So right now you can see that this subnet has as well internet gateway attached. Okay. So once it get the public IP, it should be able to access internet. But right now it don't have any public IP of the machine which is created on the private subnet. It shouldn't be have internet access. Let me see. So we have two instances running. One instance for the public one and one instance for the private one. If I try to access this one using the private IP, which is this one, right? If I do MSTSC from here, let's try to access it. It required username. Username is administrator. And then password. Let me just copy the password. Okay, so I'm able to access this machine. So on on public subnet machine, which is this one, which is having the public IP, I'm able to access internet. If I try to ping any website, I should be able to ping google.com. I'm able to ping. And even though if I try to browse internet on this machine, I would be able to do that. Let me show you. If I try to access internet, I should be able to access it. Let's try to access internet over here. Yeah, I'm able to access internet.
How do we have the net cloud?
On this one, no. This is the public one, right?
No, no, the private one. You were
On
showing the internet access.
this is the public one, and now I would access private one. On private, we don't have any
okay, you
net,
were checking. Okay, you were checking on the public.
Yeah, I was checking earlier on the public. This is the public one,
Okay,
and now I'm opening this one, the private one.
okay.
So
I
let me
thought
just
that you were checking on the private. So
okay. Now I'm on the private one. Let's try to access internet over here, and you can see here. Oh, even though your internet connection is down right now, And even though if I try to ping any website, I won't be able to do that. If I try to ping google.com, I won't be able to do that. Okay, I tried to ping google.com. Sorry, let me just try ping google.com.
Ping will not work now.
No, ping is working by default.
Okay.
Ping 8.8.8.8. No, I'm not able to ping. However, this is resolving everything. I mean,
yesterday we put the security group for the ping. No? We put a rule in the security.
that for inbound, for outbound by default, everything is allowed.
Okay.
Yeah. So for outbound by default, everything is allowed. And even though if I try to browse anything from here, let me open the server manager. Okay, even though if I try to browse anything, for example, google.com, I won't be able to do that. But you are able to see over here, if I do any NS lookup right now, for example, if I try to ping cisco.com or anything, I would be able to getting their IP. So ping cisco.com. I'm able to get its public IP, but not able to browse it. The reason is my DNS, which is configured over here on this particular system, the DNS is configured. That DNS is from AWS itself, right? So that DNS has all the records. That's why it is able to resolve that. But actually, it's not reaching on the public network. This is getting the record from the private network itself, not from the public network. And that's why it is able to resolve the IP. But anyhow, internet is not available and it's not able to reach over the internet. Okay, so I need to make sure that this private subnet should have the internet access. And for that, I'm just going to segregate the routing table as well. I would segregate the routing table as well, and plus I would create a NAT gateway. So let's create a NAT gateway first. Okay, so here we have option for NAT gateway. Right here we can create the NAT gateway, and when I would create a NAT gateway, it would ask that what's the name of the NAT gateway and where users want to create, and what would be the connection type, connectivity types. Connectivity type I'm taking a public. So let me give the NAT gateway NAT gateway underscore test VPC 1. Subnet, I'm selecting public subnet over here, and the connectivity type would be public. For NAT gateway, we require a public IP. So public IP is nothing over here. That's a elastic IP. So we are going to configure elastic IP. Okay, that's the dedicated public IP. So as soon as I allocate the public elastic IP, this is going to give me one elastic IP. This is the name of elastic IP, and this
Sorry,
elastic
sorry, I missed. Sorry, I missed. Elastic IP is the fixed IP you said?
Yes, it's a fixed IP. Elastic IP is a fixed public IP. Okay,
Oh,
so this is the static public IP that
so
I have purchased
that
so
that
far.
is that is the reason you were saying that it is chargeable.
Yes, it's chargeable, right? So it's chargeable. Okay, so we are using test account, so we should not use this for a long time. Otherwise, this is going to, charge the money from our account. So let's create NAT gateway, and right now NAT gateway has been created. But if you check the status over here, sorry, if you go NAT gateway and if you check the status, its status is a pending. So until the status is pending, the public IP is not allocated so far. So if you go over here and check the public IP, right now it's not allocated over here. That's elastic IP. We have created elastic IP. Okay, right now that elastic IP is not completely allocated and assigned to my NAT gateway. This is pending. Okay, however, I got the public IP and this need to be allocated on the NAT gateway. Let's wait.
So meanwhile, can you go to the Elastic IPs again?
Yeah, sure. This is the public
So,
IP.
so you just created it by your own self, or it get created automatically?
When I click on allocate elastic IP, this is created by,
Okay, it will come up.
yeah, automatically. Let's go here. Okay, now it's available. So my NAT gateway is ready to use. And if you check that public IP has been, mounted on this NAT gateway. The same public IP, same elastic IP has been associated with this NAT gateway. So now what we can do, we can change the routing table. I would create a separate route table. Okay, so let's create one route table for the private subnet. Create a route table and I would give RT underscore test VPC, and this is for private subnet. Select the VPC. This is the VPC and create it. Okay, so by default, you can see this is the routing table. And if I edit the routes in this routing table, I'm just going to add the route. If the subnet which is associated in this routing table want to go over the internet, how they should go? They should go via NAT gateway. And now it would ask the NAT gateway name. I would assign this, and now I would save this. So route table has been in the route table. Route has been created. Now I'm just going to associate the subnet. So we have two subnet available, public and private. Which one I just want to associate? So I would click on edit subnet association, and this subnet I'm just going to associate. Okay, that subnet has been associated now. And if I go back on route table, we have two route table. One is that we have created and other is a default one. So the subnet would have removed, the private subnet would have removed from the previous one, this route table. If I check the subnet association, only one subnet is associated with this, which is my public subnet. A private subnet has not been associated. So let's see. Over here, subnet association, one subnet has been associated. That's my private subnet. And if I go here on the system, now it should have the internet access. Ping space google.com. It got the internet access. Which one? My private subnet machine, right? And if I try to browse anything, earlier it was not browsing, but now it should be able to browse. Let me just. All right, let me just try to access it. And I don't know why this is asking trust again. I have disabled the settings for the internet, I think. Turn off. Okay, but yes, I'm able to access internet, right? From the same machine, I'm able to access internet. So this is because just of the NAT gateway. Okay. So using NAT gateway, a private subnet can also access the internet. Right. So I'm just going to show you that how we can remove this NAT gateway, because if you just want to remove this, yes, you can remove this. So as you know that NAT gateway is chargeable, right? So if you want to remove it, you can go action and delete the NAT gateway. Delete it. Because now we don't have any use of NAT gateway. I'm just going to delete it for now. And as soon as this get deleted, we need to release this IP, the public IP. Otherwise, this is going to charge us because this is a fixed. Okay. So until I don't release, nobody would be able to use this IP, right? So I need to release it. I can release it from here, go to action and release elastic IP.